I was on the Drunken Peasants? The amazing atheist must have responded to me about objective morality. Let's take a look.
Here's a video, TJ. It's called "The Amazing Atheist is Objectively Immoral."
I think we watched that on the private show.
Oh, did we? Did we already watch this?
Let me take a look.
Yeah, maybe we
Let's
did.
see. Let me see it.
Is it this one?
No. No. Let's watch it.
Paragraphs further outlining the nuts and bolts of what he...
Okay, but it's extremely...
I'm not doing this.
Dude, it's not even...
I mean, how many times do I have to do this objective
even...
morality shit?
So which one do you want to do, TJ?
Whatever you want, just not this.
What if I want this one?
I vote for this one, TJ.
Yeah, all right. Oh, come on.
Oh, what a little baby. Maybe he proves it to you, TJ. Maybe this is the moment where you buy into objective morality.
Oh, shit.
How can you close your mind to this possibility, TJ?
It's 20 minutes long. There's no way we're even going to get to his entire argument anyway.
I can't believe it.
Only 20 minutes.
Only 20 minutes to have objective morality proved to you, TJ.
No.
Well, that's fucking disappointing. Did you at least unblock me on Twitter?
Well, no.
Oh yeah. Maybe it was just the length. Maybe if I make it quick and concise, I'll get a response. So I'm not responding to a video this time. I'm not going to pick apart the logic of someone who thinks morality is subjective this time. I'm just going to go straight for it and say why I think morality is objective. Here we go. Let's start by seeing where morality comes from. And a good way of doing that is by seeing what it's dependent on. I mean, which things in the universe need to exist in order for morality to exist. Let's start with nothing. No universe. Not a single thing. Nothing exists. Do we have morality? Well, no. I mean, morality would require that something exists so that something can happen to be considered either moral or immoral subjectively or objectively. So, okay. Let's say we do have a universe, but it's just full of planets and stars and sticks and stuff. There's no conscious beings of any kind. Do we have morality then? Well, again, no. There's no morality of objects. A honeydew melon rolling down a hill and smacking into another honeydew melon without that second melon's consent does not constitute rape. So, still, nothing to consider morally. Alright, well, what if we have one being? Then it gets a little bit more interesting. One being can like bacon and dislike stubbing his toe. Some things are still considered subjectively to have a positive and negative value to that being. But there's still no morality. I mean, he's not committing rape by sticking his dick into one of those honeydew melons, even without that melon's consent. But also notice that we have a person with his personal values, and yet we do not have morality. Thus, morality is not your personal values. Morality is not your personal values. Moral value, personal value, two distinct concepts. I could conceivably stop here, but I'm just going to keep going to find out what morality actually is. So, let's put two beings in our universe. Now do we have morality? Yes. I mean, if the same guy sticks his dick into the other person without their consent, then this time we have it. We've got rape. Hooray! We have an act that we can judge as good or bad. I would hope bad. But morality exists. So, what have we learned? We have learned that morality is concerned with the interactions between individuals and their personal values, and not those individuals' personal values themselves. Okay, let's take a closer look at what's happening there to create morality when there's two people, but not when there's just one. The rapist may value fucking the victim, but the victim may not value being fucked at this time. That is a situation that has positive personal value for one individual and negative personal value to the other. Now, from the perspective of one of those individuals, he can only tell that he values some things. I mean, his only impetus to do anything is because he values those things. He values eating bacon, so he continuously shoves it into his fat American face. This has positive value to him. He may or may not have enough scientific knowledge to know what physical processes generate this experience that he has, where he values some things but not others. But either way, that is his only experience and his only reason for acting. Then he looks over at this other being. which, as best he can tell, has their own personal values in exactly the same way he does, but crucially, not the same values. He acts in accordance with his own values because he can feel them, and I suppose you could say he values his values. But just because he can't feel the values of the other person doesn't mean that they aren't there. And whatever reason he has for valuing his own values, he should also apply that to the other person's values to some extent at least. Maybe not to the same extent. I mean, he can't be as sure about another person's values and what actions will fulfill them as he can about his own. Thus, valuing them to the same extent might be impractical, but to some extent he should value them. So where are we? We exist. We have values. And we recognize that other people also have values, and we ascribe a kind of secondary value to them from our own perspective. Therefore, what we are trying to do, by the very definition that emerged for values just based on our observations, is to figure out how to fulfill those values. Well, how can we get that to happen? Well, I mean, we just all fulfill our own, right? I mean, we agreed before we can fulfill our own better because we understand them better. Well, sure. But there's a problem there, because sometimes our values conflict. So, when we take an action that restricts someone else's ability to fulfill their values, we're being counterproductive to the goal. We need a word to describe those actions that are counterproductive in that way. How about immoral? And on the other hand, some actions will actually help others to fulfill their values, and we need a word for that too, I think. How about moral? Notice that we now have a goal, by the way, a goal that we're trying to reach. And as soon as you have a goal, subjectivity goes out the window. If you're trying to, let's say, collect as many Pokemon cards as possible, and you get them all together, put them in a pile, and set them on fire, that is objectively non-conducive to your goal. It is an objective fact that that will not help you to achieve your goal. In the same way, it is pretty objective that locking someone in a cage is not going to help that individual from fulfilling his values. So you're not achieving your goal. I mean, what are the chances that all their values revolve around being in that cage? Pretty much fucking zero. So, they will not be able to achieve their values, aka we have failed at the goal that we're defining as morality. Now, there are less clear examples of morality, obviously, such as whether you should allow euthanasia. I mean, people have no chance of fulfilling their values while dead, but then what if one of the things they value is dying? It's hard to say, but then if someone is offering you two fairly similar looking packs of Pokemon cards, and you can't really tell which pack is bigger from there, which do you pick? It's hard to say. That doesn't mean there isn't a right answer. One of them may very well be bigger than the other. It just means that it's hard to tell which the answer is. And this is the crux of the whole thing. Behaving morally is behaving in a way that allows or even helps other people to do their thing. It's not always clear which action is good, but it is clear in some cases. And even when it's not, that just means we don't know what the answer is. Not that there isn't one. Because an action either will help achieve the goal of morality, or it won't. It's objective.